I'm not quite sure where to go with my questions now after today. Real quickly, 97, I was diagnosed with cancer. 99 was when I was diagnosed with just a small metastases of cancer. The big setback was last spring when I fractured my back in a couple places. Went through traditional therapy, which I had not really done much of. I had denied the traditional therapy that doctors recommended because I was the eternal optimist. I never believed that it was hereditary. I never believed that just because my parents went through this, I was the eternal optimist, always was. And then just recently have made the decision to go through some traditional treatment and have had a fair amount of pain associated with that. What's interesting, tying that back into this morning's, the young man that spoke this morning and talking about, I think finally after your last two tapes that I listened to, I finally got where two things, that I was a little bit more depressed than I ever thought I was, and that being aware of that was helpful. And the last tape where you talked about, again, that next level of thinking up one, and again, it goes back and forth between vibration, and I thought I was at a higher level than depression. And I think I was at depression more than I was, just because I try to be the eternal optimist.
Well, a lot of people find themselves that way. In other words, you teach it to each other. Mm-hmm. You want your children to smile and behave no matter how they feel. That's why we tease about putting your hand on the stove and smiling. No, it doesn't hurt. Ignore that burning smell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so there are a number of things that we want to give to you. Most significantly, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would say in 99 or 97, I was diagnosed with resistance.
I like that, yes.
We would call it what it is, because it could squirt out in all kinds of different labels, but we would just call it what it is. I was diagnosed with resistance. And then we would play with ourselves a little bit about it and say things like, oh, I had emotion that was giving me the diagnosis, but I ignored that. And I was even given stronger emotion, which was an indication of it, but I ignored that because, like almost everybody, I didn't pay too much attention to the way I felt, because the way I felt was the way I felt. So that's the way we would talk to ourselves. It will help you to put a new spin on what this resistance is, because you know what to do about it. We think that the treatment that you are moving toward is exactly right, because we could feel relief in your vibration even as you were expressing it to us, so we feel like it is perfect for you. We do not feel that you have enough thoughts against that introducing that to your experience would be detrimental. And so we would do that, physical treatment, but at the same time, we would be doing this releasing of resistance. Personal treatment with thought. And so now, never mind where you've been, you know where you want to be. So where do you think you are on this emotional meter relative to this physical condition? Does it feel like fear? Does it feel like worry? Does it feel like determination? Does it feel like disempowerment? Doesn't matter. Where is it? What does it feel like?
It's not fear. It's the pain. I'm not fearful of death. I don't think I am. I don't feel I am.
Well, we have to say to you that the pain, relax into the pain and call the pain in the same way that we say, I've been diagnosed with resistance. Now, instead of saying, I feel pain, start saying, I feel resistance. Because in the same way,
you make it so easy.
When Esther gets a headache, she knows that it's nothing more than resistance. And when your bones ache, it's not anything more than resistance. And there's this tendency to say, no, it's a lot more than resistance with me. The x-rays are showing, or whatever is showing, that there's much more going on here. And we say, we don't care what they call it, it's resistance. And we don't care how long it's been there, you can release it. You just can't do it all at once. Nobody can. Don't beat up on yourself because you can't. And once something has come to the point that it's giving you a physical discomfort, now you're going to be able to feel the relief. You're going to be able to feel the difference in the degree of that pain. Really, really, really you are. In other words, this is fine-tuning, releasing resistance. And as you release it, they're going to say, what's going on? They're going to say, oh, we're really good. Our treatment's really working. And say to them, yes, it is. Because you'll take it any way you can get it. In other words, it does not matter what brings it about. All of it is moving you toward where you want to be. You don't have to go back and explain anything to anybody. You don't have to explain or apologize for having more negative emotion than you recognized. All you have to say is, here I am somewhere around Yuma, and there's where I want to be, and which thought feels best. So now, ramble. Talk to us. Anything around this subject. You can talk about the procedure. You can talk about where you're going. You can talk about how you've been feeling. Just talk, and let's see if you can feel which way you're going on the emotional vibrational meter.
One of the things, and I don't know if this fits right in, is I had a very close friend die last year who had a different form of cancer, but she dealt with death in a way of releasing. She was totally comfortable with dying. Totally comfortable that she didn't really do much of anything. She didn't do much of anything to stay on this earth. I don't know if I'm battling or if I'm resisting.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You cannot evaluate the appropriateness of anybody else's.
No, and I know that. But I
stay with us just for a minute here, because there's something really big in this. We are not saying that she should have tried harder to stay. And we're not saying that you should try harder to stay. We're saying, from what we can feel from you and from what we can feel from the energy that surrounded that, there was no reason for her to fight to stay because she was finished. In other words, she was satisfied with where she was. And so it was easy for her to just relax into that. You feel like you are in a very different place from that, you see. And so you could relax into that, and you could say, well, I've decided that I'm going to do that, but we don't think you could do that easily because that's not what you've been deciding for so long, you see.
It's not what I want to do.
So we do not think that that's the path of least resistance for you. We think that's a path of greater resistance for you, you see.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Now, you would have been able to figure that out for yourself if you had had 2 or 3 days of practicing what we've been doing here under your belt before that question came to your mind. And here's the way you
2 or 3 days with you would do it.
Here's the thing that you're wanting to feel around this. As you pose that question, or as you think about your friend, and you think about the way she just sort of released and let go, and then you think about yourself doing that, does that give you relief, or does that aggravate your resistance? In other words,
it aggravates my resistance.
It does, doesn't it? So you can feel that that's not the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is always the path of most relief. Least resistance, more relief. In other words, is the path of more relief.
And I would say 90%. There are times when I get in that total state where I'm like, just take me.
Well, that's logical. Esther says that sometimes when she stubs her toe or gets a headache, or when she's mad about something. In other words, she's so used to bliss when she's not in bliss, it's like the world has come to an end. She said to Jerry one day, they're driving down the street, they still don't have electricity, they have 3 days until their open house, and she saw a city public service worker on a pole, and she said, let's kidnap him and hold him for ransom. And every day they don't give us electricity, we'll chop off one of his fingers. And Jerry said, "You're scaring me."
Yeah.
Because he could tell that she was partially kidding, but she was getting pretty serious about it. In other words, she would never do that, but she was wanting to find some way of expressing her degree of discomfort about that. And so, don't worry. In other words, your emotions are your emotions are your emotions are your emotions, and you can't do a lot of damage. As Esther was beginning to make her way to relief about that, once she said that, the humor of it brought her relief about it. And so, as you're reaching for thoughts that give you relief, and you do feel relief, then it was an appropriate thought. And we're not suggesting Esther would never kidnap anyone. She certainly would never start chopping off their fingers. Yeah. But the idea of re-empowering herself felt like relief to her. You get a sense of it?
I do.
And so anything that makes you feel a little better as you approach the subject is appropriate. And that's all that empowerment is. It's about releasing myself from the thought that has taken my power. And we don't want to get heavy on the thoughts that cause the disease, because those thoughts aren't there. And we're going to give this to you in a powerful way. Just let it settle in with you. This is going to give you a tremendous feeling of relief. If you were vibrating then as you are now, you would not have experienced the disease to begin with. In other words, if the understanding of creation was as clearly focused within you back then as it is now, this could never have gotten a foothold. And the only reason it's continuing its foothold is because once it gets a foothold, then you notice the condition, and as you notice the condition, then you can continue the condition. So if you can see this as something that you can leave behind with the thought that feels worst, and leave behind with the thought that feels better, then there's no place that you cannot go. We wouldn't care if you had 20 diagnoses, 20 times the seriousness. We would be telling you the same thing. You can leave it behind, because no matter what the label they have given it, it is nothing more than resistance. And now you know how to release resistance one little thing at a time, one little thing at a time. You don't have to do it all at once. Nobody can. And we think that's why so many people hang on to so much that they don't want to carry around with them, because they think they need some sky to open and some big hand to come down and some great enlightening, awakening thing to happen. And we say, those kind of quantum leaps are so rare, and you don't even want them. They're uncomfortable. What you want is
it wasn't comfortable.
One relief thought at a time. That's all. So then you just start giving yourself some self-talk. You can tell. When you say, "Oh, I think I'm getting worse," you can tell which way you're going. When you say, "Oh, it doesn't matter how I feel, I'm making steady progress," you can feel the relief in that. When you say, "I'm glad I live in this day and age. There's so many wonderful medicine that's going to give me some relief," that gives you relief. As you say, "I'm not ready to go. That's clear. I'm still here," that gives you relief. As you say, "My friend made her transition by just releasing. That was right for her. It's different from me," that gives you relief. As you say, "I am so resilient," that gives you relief. As you say, "I don't have to figure it all out. My body knows what to do," that gives you relief. As you say, "I wonder what I did wrong all of those years that caused it," you're on your way back to Phoenix. As you say, "Doesn't matter. I did the best I knew how to do, and now I know what I'm doing. Now I'm faced in the right direction. Now, for the first time, I can tell which direction I'm headed." The only reason anybody ever gets sick and gets sicker is because they can't tell which direction they're headed, because they haven't come into tuning with their own indicators of their own track. They're letting somebody else that's guiding them for all kinds of other reasons try to guide them. So somebody says, "Oh, you shouldn't get angry," when anger was a good thing for you, not a bad thing. Do you know how many diseases are in bodies today because somebody was mad and couldn't allow themselves to be mad and phase on through it? In other words, they just got stuck there from mad to disempowerment, mad to disempowerment, mad to disempowerment, until it festers from within, you see. Good. This is very good. We have to give you something really powerful here, and it will be particularly beneficial to you. you all come forth intending to live a good life, some of you with stronger intentions than others, and your energy was moving very powerfully about that. You really intended to come forth and live well and express it through teaching. In other words, that's who you are. So when, for whatever reason, you find yourself not where you want to be, there's a tendency for everyone to then try to begin explaining why that is so. And almost without exception, you want to give that credit to your parents because they were the ones who cared.
How do you know that? But go ahead.
We're really smart. We read energy, and we know everything about you, and we adore you. So anyway,